get MFN started. So we left off with Sai and Yamato joining Team 7. Christian does not trust Sai at all. He hates Sai, if anything. He would want to Shiden him a million times. If he could Shiden him, he would be so happy. So let's get on with it. So basically, while Christian is walking down, he sees Sai behind him. He's like, Sai, I know you're behind me. What are you doing? He says, oh, well, he just responds and says, nothing, stupid. He goes, a vein pops up on Christian's head and says, what did you just say? He goes, stupid, is that what you're supposed to say? He says, no. Oh my MFing god, my controller just got finished charging from an hour ago, and it's legit already almost dead. Like, oh man. Like, come on, like, we can't do it like that, whatever. Basically, he would say, no, you're supposed to say, he says, I don't even feel like talking to you right now, so I just go. He says, no. He goes, no, I will not, he says. And then Sai just walks away. He's like, this guy is crooked. Honestly, I think someone's gonna have to teach him how to talk, or else that might happen. He says, he walks and he teleports to Naruto. Says, hey Naruto. He says, yeah. He says, we got a problem. He says, what's wrong? Did you get in a fight with Sai? He says, no, it's an even worse problem with Sai. He says, what's wrong? He says, Sai doesn't know how to say the right thing. He says, what? Like, he just said, I asked him, is he gonna leave? He said, no. And then he just walked away. So I'm pretty sure this guy's words are crooked, and you know what happens then with the person. He goes, oh, yeah, we better go get Sasuke before he gets to that person. So they run over, say, hey Sasuke, you mind coming here for a second? He says, yes. We gotta teach Sai how to talk. He says, what? Why? He says, his words are crooked. He can barely even speak. I asked him to please leave me alone. He said no and then walked away. He says, oh yeah, that's definitely a problem. We're gonna have to tell him that before it happens. He says, yeah, pretty much. And if you're wondering what it is, you'll know. Basically, Sai would be walking up to Sakura and says, hello. He says, it says, oh hey Sai. He says, hello. He says, hello, ugly. And she goes, and basically is about to punch him, but then they all appear and say, stop. Right then and there, Christian jumps in front of Sai and says, watch out, buddy, before he gets sent 300 miles away. And then, before Christian is sent 300 miles away, he's like, you know what? I deserve this for trusting an idiot who can't even talk right. Then he just teleports back and says, and when he teleports back, he's hit again. He's like, God freaking damn it, uselessness. Do you have to keep on doing this? But then she walks behind him, throws him out of the way, and then starts beating up Sai. And he's like, alright, well this ain't gonna last long, so Naruto, Sasuke, I leave this to you, my friends. They say, hey, wait a minute. He says, teach Sai how to talk. All you need to do is tell him the right words before he makes anyone else, any other people angry. Especially the Hokage. You remember what happened last time, don't ya? He says, oh, yeah, that. He says, yeah, I think you might have. He says, well, let's just get started and teach him how to talk. So they show Sai, like, you can't call Sakura or anyone else in the Konoha 12 ugly, or else you'll basically die. Because, well, they really don't like being called ugly. I mean, Hinata just gets depressed. 10-10, well, no one really happens there. And Ino will just kill you just like Sakura just did. And except if she was simping for you, just like Sakura simps for Sasuke. And he says, are you ever gonna get over it? He says, nah, that's just really annoying. It just gets on my nerves how annoying she is when she's around you. it's hard to hang out. It's hard to have fun as Team 7 with her. He says, well, I don't really care anymore. I've gotten full on over that. And he says, well, whatever. So he said, so they teach Sai the entire day how to actually speak. So when they go to a barbecue with Choji, Ina, and the rest of Team 7, she simps on Sai because, well, she gave up on Sasuke. She's like, Sakura says, you're not gonna go and you're not gonna be all flirty with Sasuke, are ya? You know? And she says, I'm interested in Sai. He says, and then he says, hello, and then he says, let's introduce ourselves. He said, and Naruto and Krishna are sweating. They're like, please say the right thing. We've talked about this for over 10 hours. We didn't get sleep tonight because of this. He better say the right thing. He says, beautiful. And they're like, okay, well, that's a little extreme, but he says, good. They start clapping and saying, yes, yes, finally, you said the right thing. But then we got Karen Sakura, thinking everyone's gotta like her, goes all crazy and say, you call her beautiful? Christian says, well, I guess that's the end of the world. I really don't. He says, I mean, I'm pretty sure Sai would like someone better who doesn't beat him up every single day. Naruto says, yeah, I agree. He says, oh, really, you two? They say, Sasuke, you agree? He says, yeah, I really, really do. He says, I do so much agree. So then, Sakura's starting to not like Sasuke that much, but then she decides to like him again. He says, oh, so we didn't get a... So... Naruto and Christian celebrate. They're like, yes, yes. They're like, Sakura says, what are you idiots talking about? They say, oh, nothing. And she says, tell me. I don't know. They say, well, we kinda taught Sai manners for about 12 hours and it finally worked. You said, you guys, I didn't think you guys had manners. And they say, Christian says, rude. And he says, well, it's true. And he says, yeah, well, sometimes the truth hurts, Sakura. You don't always gotta say it. And she says, whatever. And she says, or, well, shall I tell Sai not to remember any of those teachings I told them? He says, what do you mean? He says, you know what happened yesterday, Sakura. I'm pretty sure Sai would gladly call you that again. He says, I'm pretty sure Sai would gladly call you ugly again. I mean, no one wouldn't be lying with him. And with the vein on her face, she tries to go, and he says, I'm out, and punches through the window and just runs out the door and says, haha, you can pay for the bill. And then he says, yo, Naruto, Sasuke, if you want to go and let Sakura pay for the bill, you can. And they jump out, and everyone just jumps out except for Sakura. They're like, you paying? And she says, I will kill both of you, Naruto and Christian. You will both die. Christian says, well, I'm gonna go see the Hokage's face. I'm gonna go on top of the Hokage faces. He said, you know how Konohamaru talked to the third Hokage as like a mentally thingy? He says, hey, Minato. He starts talking to the fourth Hokage, saying all kinds of crap about how him and Naruto are best friends, and for some reason he's getting he says, wait a minute. Hold on. He says, wait, never mind. Hold up, wait a minute. Moving on to the next thing, the learning of the Rasen Shuriken. Naruto would still have the urge to learn it, since Sasuke is way stronger than he is. They'd both be working on it. Asuma would still die. Christian would be working on a different jutsu, working on something that he also has, Dark Chakra. It's like a deep purplish black chakra. He's like, whenever he tries to use it, it overwhelms him, and he goes crazy, beating up, well, not crazy, but he gets angry. Whenever someone rushes at him, he goes, and just sends him flying. So he tries to wheel. It, didn't I? I done did it, didn't I? Please don't die again, controller. I've been charging this thing for so long. I don't know why it has to die. So, basically, moving on to the next part of this. So, Christian would say, whoa, Naruto learned wind-style Rasen Shuriken? Maybe I should do that. But, maybe I'll envelop the dark chakra. He goes, and then he makes a shadow clone do it. And he says, whoa, and it's not in a shuriken shape. It's in a ring shape. He says, what the? He's like, I just thought of the awesomest name. He says, I'll call it Great Rasen Ring. The big one, he will. And he also gets smaller in calling this run Rasen Ring. Saying, oh yes, I'm not showing this to Naruto. There's no way he's known about my new jutsu. So then they go. So when Kakashi leaves to go with Team Asuma to go avenge him, Chris would say, I don't know. Well, after mastering the jutsu in the morning, he dips with them, saying, "All right, guys, I'm coming." Sage mode, and he finds Kakazu in a minute's wise, saying, "Well, there he is. Let's go." Shikamaru would lead Hidan into the little woods thingy, and yes. So he goes, and it's Ino, Choji, Kakashi, and Christian. He's like, alright, well, I'll fight him, guys. This should not be pretty hard. He says, I will obliterate you in one hit. One hit, no less. Sage mode! And saying, and they say, what kind of jutsu is that? He says, is that a dark Rasengan? And then it starts to change shape into a ring. They say, what the? It's a ring? He says, and then he walks up to he goes and floats up to this guy, and they say, how can he float? He says, wind style air bending. Okay, that just sounds like Avatar, so I'm not gonna do that. He says, wind style floating. He says, and then he says, Great Rasen Ring. He just says, Rasen Ring, and drops it down, hitting Kakazu with so much force that the pressure on his body just fades, and he says, that was nothing. Then he says, dang, that took up a lot of chakra, and it didn't even get close to killing him. I'm gonna destroy 2 of his hearts. He says, maybe I have to use more power. He says, this will probably take off all my chakra. Guys, I am back. I'm starting to get sick of this. This is really annoying me. I just died in this thing because of this stupid little thing. So basically, when I'm done with this, I'm probably just going to go charge my controller for a couple of hours, then get back on the recording again. Basically, Christian would say, alright. Charging up the biggest one he's ever done. It's as big as the forest. He says, everyone, get out of here! Quickly! They say, we're not leaving! He says, now! He yells it this time, saying, this attack will kill you all! They say, no, we're avenging our sensei! He says, then go with Shikamaru! Get out of here! This will blow up this entire force field! If you come any closer, this will absolutely kill you! 100%! This will absolutely murder you if this happens. I do not want you all to die from this. Great Rasen Ring! Throwing it down. A giant I'd say that thing's about 500 feet long. Bigger than the Kraken. Actually, no, the Kraken is like 5,000 feet. So, he says, "Da-na-na," killing Kakuzu and hitting Shikamaru, and Thing for some heavy damage, but they aren't injured too much. He says, "You call her